Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and also happy midnight if you're living in LA. And welcome back to the fourth episode of Neko Dubs podcast, where we all nerd out with me and Andy as you all get to sit back and relax and just chill. Right, Andy?
Already on it. Chilling.
Yeah, we're all chilling. I don't know why I'm introducing with a weird voice, but we are back. It's been a long while. It's been a month since we've done Neko Does podcast. All of us have been pretty busy and also under the weather, which is pretty bad. Like Andy, if you want to explain, but for me, I got sore throat for 2 weeks, which is crazy. Since I never had a sore throat that long, but then I happened to have it, and then I guess I can no longer regenerate quicker. You know, I'm just getting old. I'm 20-year-old man. Oh my gosh. Youth
yes,
is
you're at the end of your days.
I'm at the end of my days. Youth is slowly slithering away from me. I'm not what I used to be. I used to be able to do splits when I was 2. Now I can no longer do it because I'm 20. But how about you, Andy? Because there was a couple of times where you were you were under weather as well.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't catch colds that often, but usually when they happen, they happen. But there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But it's mostly it's getting to be that rainy season near the end of summer.
Oh yeah.
It's October. It's getting colder. That rainy season, and that usually messes with seasonal allergies with me.
Oh, by the way.
By the time I take something, I end up passing out because the allergy pill makes me drowsy.
Yeah, just a full disclaimer, Andy does not live where I live in. I live in LA. She lives in somewhere, I think, a little mid. Is it
Iowa.
mid? Yeah, she lives in Iowa. So there's a completely different weather. But we also had rain for like the first time in a long while on Friday. That was our first rain. So I feel you. as an LA resident, SoCal.
I'm good with it. It's just sometimes it acts up.
Yeah, definitely. All right, but anyways, moving on to our main topic that we're gonna talk for this podcast, and it is going to be us talking about drum roll, do it. Oh.
Everyone has a superhero that they probably like.
Andy, I want to introduce it. I was going to do a dramatic drum roll and...
Yeah, but I do have a drum roll, but I thought you were just drumming up to make me boost my ego.
Oh, well, how do you feel now, Andy? You get to introduce it. Is your ego boosted?
Yeah, it's already the size of a mountain.
Alright, mine's the size of a pebble. Alright. But anyways, let's just move on. We are going to talk about heroes and science fiction because everyone loves hero and science fiction, especially the people who are nerds, right? And we are nerds, right, Andy?
Oh yeah, mostly those go hand in hand. I mean, like
yeah,
you said, everyone has a superhero. That's
yeah, and all
people have like those they look up to.
Yeah, and they all come in all shapes and sizes from all different series, from mangas to cartoons to animes to Dungeons and Dragons to board games to card games to comic books, video games.
Comic book heroes, everyone loves those.
Yep. And not only do everyone love superheroes, they also love sci-fi too. Actually, a good number of people.
Most of them go hand in hand.
Yeah, they go hand in hand, just as you said. Yep. And since
have superpowers without some science fiction.
Yeah, science. Have you seen the meme? Yeah, science. But speaking of science and heroes, then we should always, since we're talking about a specific topic, we should always have a pop-up question along the way. For example, who was the creator of science fiction, or known as the father of sci-fi?
Edgar Allan Poe?
That is correct. Yeah, but legit, Edgar Allan Poe is the father of sci-fi, even though he is mainly known for modern horror stories. He also,
Oh, yeah.
yes, he also created, pioneered sci-fi, and then eventually more and more people came to be. And this includes Lovecraft, even though his was more of a horror sci-fi. If you don't know Lovecraft, he was the one who created Cthulhu. Is it how?
Oh yeah,
Cthulhu.
I know Lovecraft.
Cthulhu. My bad,
The
not
only small
Cthulhu.
tidbit, we can mostly move on after I say this, but yeah, I do know Lovecraft. My D&D group's actually gonna play the Call of Cthulhu board game. So yeah.
But yeah, basically those two people were very industrial in creating sci-fi and also horror, especially Poe, and then eventually it moves on.
Yes.
Yes. Alright, and speaking of recent heroes and sci-fi, what are your favorite heroes in sci-fi, Andy?
Well, I did grow up a lot on the science fiction side. I mean, yeah, with anything that goes, space, everything else, I grew up on that stuff.
So like, especially
all I say is that everyone has something that they look up to when they were a kid.
Definitely.
People even most of them really know about, most popular ones are, the comic book heroes like, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that have, good guys always win or do all that. I do have a favorite, but it's more like a dual pick if you want to choose comic book wise or general, who did like that.
I mean,
No.
for the sake of Neko Dubs, what's your favorite? I guess actually no. Hold on. Let me try to formulate the question.
Yes, think of it.
Yeah, think of it. Think of liquidatively. How about, okay, so since we're doing, since we're mainly doing video games as of now, and we are trying to branch out to different, what are your favorite video games superheroes or heroes?
Oh, my favorite?
Yeah.
It's mostly, you do have those silent protagonists. It makes you project yourself onto it. So to think that you could be, the one saving the, going and doing the adventure. That's why I said I like some silent protagonists.
So is it, so, yeah, as in you don't, the protagonists aren't necessarily talking, right? Or,
yeah, it helps me make you think yourself as the person.
Okay, Persona 5 or
immersion of the adventure.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Immersion of the adventure, sense of you're the main yeah, video game wise. Let's see, how about manga or anime?
Oh, with manga and anime, I did have a few favorites.
Yep. What are your few favorites?
I mostly like those who they seem human. It's not like the good guys always win. I can't believe I'm gonna reference My Hero Academia, but
so you like a lot of anti-heroes? Like anti-heroes?
Oh yes, I do like a good anti-hero. Which it brings to the point that, one of my favorite anti-heroes is Deadpool, so...
Hey, let's go! Let's get it! Yeah, Deadpool's one of the most hilarious.
Well, but he seems more human than the other heroes.
Oh yeah, of course. Because that's just how he is. He's more humane, he's more...
Well, human, not humane. Not even by the slightest humane.
Whoa, okay, superpower's not humane, but his personality is okay, Cody. We're getting technical a little here. Humane and
Oh,
humane.
come on.
It's
This
the
is
same
like I said,
thing.
that's like the most, my anti-hero I like, personally.
Yeah, but,
Humane is nothing. I mean, I've seen him chop people in half.
well, yeah, of course that's not humane because it's in the world, in the realm of superheroes, right? His personality is more humane. How about that? Is more human.
Instead of saying that we have to do this because it's the right thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is that Deadpool is one of the few characters who's he's a mercenary, right? So he's not doing for the purpose of justice or for law or for things like that. That's why the contrast between him and Colossus in the movie worked by a hell lot, because Colossus is someone who's a little more who comes off as uptight, who comes off as righteous and do it for justice, for things like that. But Deadpool's like, fuck that, I'm doing things for what I want or for my own value and merit, and sometimes it's not considered honorable,
Right.
or like considered aligns towards the idea of justice, but I'm gonna do things my way. And that's why he's killing people, unlike other superheroes, and that's why he acts the way he is, essentially. Okay.
Oh yeah, and that impossible things probably do mess with your head after a while.
Oh yeah, of course. He pretty much suffered a good number of tragic woes. For example, like cancer, which eventually led him to, which pretty much scars his face is visually, and then also in the movie, not spoiling it, but someone died and it affected him. Actually, I did spoil it.
Well, it just... I can reference some of the things because I do know his comic book story.
Yeah.
But, yeah, all I'm saying is that he seems more like something you can relate, because if someone, people with disfigurements, they tend to, be a little more self-conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's why he normally hit himself with a mask.
Yep.
And, people do react differently to certain situations.
Yep.
Which is why I suggest people read it. Like I said, it's more like you can, despite him being batshit crazy, he's also relatable in some ways.
Yeah. That's just really how Deadpool is. That that's why he is definitely, even before the movie, he's one of my favorite anti-heroes of all time. Along with
So what is one of your favorite, heroes in general?
heroes. Well, what is a hero? That's a good question.
A good definition of hero is, someone that you do look up to.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be, someone from, the science fiction genre.
Oh yeah, of
Most
course.
people look up to the fictional
It's
ones
just
because, reality sucks.
Yeah, and a lot of them tend to the thing about heroes and science fiction is that they always tend to cross over. So that's why without heroes, it's one or the other, but they can be separate because there are different types of heroes and different timelines.
It's what you define as what you look up to.
I think one of my heroes actually is not necessarily a comic but the first hero. The first character that I look up to that's not necessarily from a comic, anime, manga, or any of the current references of things is actually from a classical literature tale called Journey to the West. My first hero was Monkey King, or some would call. And so basically, if you don't know, Journey to the West is about a Chinese monk trying to make his way to India, and then on his way there's a bunch of demons and lots of injustice out there, so he will be accompanied by 3 other demons who will help fight against the demons. That's like the general gist of things. And Monkey King was one of the 3 demons who were trying to repent. And he was pretty badass. Like he was the strongest of the 3. The other 2 were usually comic reliefs, as portrayed in the TV shows. But he was pretty badass. He was very arrogant. He was like, "Yo, I'm gonna pummel all of them," and he talks the way he walks. Like he's that's just how he is. Like he's really strong. And so he's always defeating every demons or so. That's why I like Monkey King, is because he's pretty, he's pretty up there. He's like pummeling everyone left to right and things like that.
I mean, who doesn't like that?
Yeah, he was literally. He might be kind of like he's basically like our Chinese version of Superman, And when I was younger, I didn't necessarily read the entire thing because the original literature is really long. It's very complicated. It's so complex. It's a classic literature. But I was just amongst the other Asian Americans out there who basically watch it through an Asian TV series, whether it's from a Chinese TV station or a Hong Kong TV station like TV Buddy. I watch a lot of the series of Monkey Kings. There were a lot of Monkey King series out there in TV Buddy, and there was an animated series. There were several different depictions. There were movies based off it. Like that Journey to the West is extremely popular. It's one of the most popular Chinese tales out there. It's commonly used and it's commonly televised along with other Chinese myths and stories. So he was my first hero in essence. Like I really look up to Monkey King, and I definitely would want to have a costume like him someday when I can afford all the fur. But also I also watch a lot of more I grew up from a lot of Asian heroes. I also grew up from Ultraman Ace. If any of you OG Japanese fans know Ultraman, I actually know Ultraman Ace from watching the Cantonese dub versions though. But yeah, I grew up from Ultraman Ace 2. I also grew up from Andyfire. And then I started moving on towards anime, manga, comics. I don't necessarily have a hero for comics. It's strange. I gravitate towards. Yeah, go ahead.
Something. I was saying the comic books, they have plenty of people.
yeah. And it just, for me, it kind of gravitates toward different series I watch. I would watch Batman, Brave and Bold or something like that, and then move on to Justice League or Superman, and then Iron Man didn't came up yet, but Spider-Man or The Flash, and then Spider-Man when Spider-Man Tobey Maguire came out. That was the days, and then eventually it's eventually that's when I realized, oh wait, there's another series, there's another superhero universe, DC, and then Iron Man came out, then Marvel with the Avengers series, Hulk and things like that. I don't necessarily stick to one superhero actually. The only one I stick to technically would be Deadpool. Actually,
yes.
Yeah. I would actually.
We can both agree. Comic book section,
yes,
stick with Deadpool.
Yes, but even then, it's I kind of bounce back and forth. If there's a really good tale, I would go. In terms of heroes for manga or anime, there was a good number, but oh my god, my two common two favorites. Not I don't necessarily have like the most favorite, but the two favorites are a tie between Zoro from One Piece and also Kenpachi Zaraki from I'm not probably not saying it right, but Kenpachi Zaraki from Bleach. And oh my gosh, are they so badass? Like holy
they are.
shit. They're like the reason I put them together is because they're so similar. Like
they want to fight.
Yeah, they want to fight. They actually can fight. Yeah, and they have poor sense of direction. Legit, they have poor sense of direction, and they're like probably close to being either one of the top 5 strongest characters. Like Zoro is like second strongest for Luffy. Like in terms of like the teams of protagonists. Like Zoro is second, no doubt, and then Kenpachi in terms of Ichigo's like lineup would be like third, a good third, fourth, probably third whenever Byakuya is there. Once again, I apologize if I'm misspelling. I'm mispronouncing the names. I'm American, but
yeah, we have an excuse.
Yeah, we have an excuse. We're Americans. We pronounce names all the time. You know, my last name used to be something, but they want me to change it, so now it's Ha. I'm kidding. No, but legit, we Americans do mispronounce names. That's why I like Vietnamese names like Nguyen gets changed to Nguyen. So it's crazy. But anyways, yeah, those are pretty much a good number of heroes that I like. And then there's also some other heroes I also like for example, Okari Rintaro from Steins Gate, and then like things like that. Steins Gate.
Pretty,
huh? Wait, what did you say?
He's pretty much, you know, when you get to his actual personality and the fake one he puts in front of him, that is also very relatable.
Yes. Well, the thing is, though,
like,
I also...
You're gonna be affected by, I don't want to spoil Steins Gate, play the game or watch the anime, please.
Yeah.
But whatever that entire journey he goes through, you're gonna be affected.
I wouldn't necessarily...
It does affect him.
Yeah, a lot. But I wouldn't necessarily say that his fake persona isn't real. I think, because, like, I relate to him the most. I find him the most relatable.
You put him on a fake persona to, you know, help face the world.
Yeah, and that's what we do all the time, is we tend to do that. It's just we're not as very open or very, like, oh, I am not my own name. I am, more, like, we're not as much as, most of us aren't really much of an outlier.
Like Rintaro is.
Yeah, we're not like
it's
really.
Mostly it's his method of facing challenges.
Yeah.
And it helps give more like the courage, because.
Yes, and also the
I could go on a complete character analysis of the guy.
And it's also
more relatable.
Yeah, and it's also a method of trying to hold on to his childhood friend, which is why it's a really great story. It's one of the best science fiction anime manga out there. It's really up there.
I play the light novel if you guys want to watch that.
Yeah, not light novel
game.
or the anime.
Your computer, your PlayStation. That tells the complete and full story of it.
Yep.
But they do have the anime adaptation.
The anime is also beautiful. It's gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous story. I loved it.
It's amazing. Oh my god, it's breathtaking. It's one of the better realistic science fiction too. It does timeline. For me, it does time travel justice.
Yes.
Legit.
And speaking of time travel, I can go on. Can I move on to my actual childhood hero?
Yeah, you can move on to your actual childhood hero. Who
has traveling alien in a blue box and saves people.
So who is that? That's the next
I
question.
watched Doctor Who
Yep.
growing up, and my parents watched Doctor Who growing up because this show has been going on for like 50 years.
Oh yeah, it's been
like about 50 years old.
One of the longest running TV shows. Is it the longest running TV show series, or is it?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's
Not
what I
one
said.
of.
I love the Doctor so much because he doesn't. Yeah, you love the badass heroes. You have to, but yeah, he's just a guy.
You mean
traveling around? Yeah, he travels around in time and space, but most of the time he's only armed with the fact that he's smart and he has a screwdriver.
Yeah.
He helps save planets, and he's the one who stops the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell that, yeah, he has more humanity than some of the humans that he bumps into.
Yeah. And that idea, that concept is really profound. Because it brings...
you can solve problems by not using guns.
Because, I mean, if you think about it in a sense of concept, this is like an alien who can regenerate 13 times, who definitely knows more than...
Yeah, that whole regeneration thing is mostly, it was a play to get a new actor.
Well, of course. I mean, but under the realm of things...
getting old, so...
I mean, under the realm of things, though, like like, based on the world and not necessarily what they're... why they made him regenerate, or made the alien regenerate 13 times, but the whole concept behind it is really fascinating.
Yeah, and half the time you can possibly believe some of the science that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, most of the time the Doctor is the one. I mean, yeah, there's times where he has to like physically fight, and I put some time. I actually sat down and watched part of the classic series.
Yeah.
When I had the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some of the things from the past, but yeah, there are times where the enemies do end up, there are a few times where he had to defend himself and someone died. But half the time, he doesn't go in with weapons or anything else. He just goes in and he stops the monsters. That's why he made so many enemies, because he stopped them from doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm. And it's very traditional. It blends with the traditional, but also draws out the complexity, especially as the series grows longer and the Doctor starts regenerating more. There's just random characters.
A new fresh face to play the role.
Yeah. And speaking of new fresh faces, what do you think about the 13th Doctor? Because I know you were so excited to talk about it.
Oh,
Jodie Whittaker, right?
Jodie Whittaker.
Oh, Whittaker, my bad.
I think she's doing great so far.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, that's the first time the Doctor regenerated and ended up playing a woman and didn't really put too much of that feminist, because I have to say that I honestly don't like the whole feminist action. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
But it didn't put on that fact. I mean, they made references because people started calling the Doctor ma'am, and she's like, why you call me that?
Yeah.
Why? Oh. I am? Does it suit me?
yeah. When she encounters the supporting characters, right? Yasmin and also Ryan.
Yeah, it's like, does it suit me?
Does it suit me?
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely also like.
Be careful. I used to be a white-haired Scotsman. This is getting a little difficult.
Yeah. I used to be Peter Capaldi, but now I'm Jodie Whittaker. But I agree with you entirely.
I like the character because, as I said, it goes around and he saves worlds. He saves planets.
Yeah.
He stops the monsters before they hurt anyone else. But just basically being smart, clever, and a screwdriver. Because that's all the Sonic is. It's a screwdriver.
Yeah. It is. But
it opens doors. It scans things. But it's supposed to be a non-lethal instrument, and it is a non-lethal instrument.
It's still a useful tool.
Except with wood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
He can do anything but wood.
But wood. That's the fun part. But yeah, I agree with you about Jodie Whittaker. Is that it's just it brings. I mean, I know I'm not exactly phased about. I'm also with you. Like I'm not exactly phased about new like the feminist, the old ideal feminist side of things. I just think that it brings
so that it didn't focus on the fact that the doctor, you know, ended up being a woman. It's
yeah.
Like, oh really?
Yeah, and like for me, I'm pretty much on the middle side of the spectrum of things where I'm not like, oh, they brought in. They're also progressively like. They're also bringing the progressive agenda on Doctor Who too, or not also being like, oh yeah, woman power or something like that. I'm really more of, I think I like the new take because I personally would like to see each new generation brings out different race or different sex of a Doctor. Like that's what I personally wanted, but of course that doesn't happen. But
it's mostly who's good for the
part. Yeah. I agree with you entirely.
You're good for the part because, as I said, I grew up with the Doctor.
Yeah. Like of course that's always. I mean, it's always comes down to if you're good enough for it. But I felt like that's the base medium. But in terms of conceptualizing, like something as universal as Doctor Who, I felt like if let's say I were to write something that's similar as it. In terms of regeneration, I would definitely do different race and different ethnicity or different sex of character. Because it brings out the universality.
Out and they just pick who it is.
Yeah.
Really
definitely.
Say it.
Yeah, I agree. And that's just how it is. But to me, I also like the 13th Doctor especially. Like she has the David Tennant vibe, though. Like not necessarily.
It's mostly right now. The only thing I've seen is the first episode.
Yeah. For me too.
Of the new season.
For me too.
But right now, all I'm seeing is that the Doctor crashes and trying to find out who she is.
Yeah, and but like.
It's like really not trying to find who she is. It's trying to find who she is.
She's enjoying it.
Seeing the David Tennant vibe. But it has more like trying to bring the new regeneration was trying to bring back the side of themself. I don't care.
Yeah, but like
side of the person and their own personality that is more gentle.
Yes, and more. But for me
and
though,
said it in the end before Capaldi had his regeneration scene.
Yeah, but for me though, it's
he wanted to finally stop being the grumpy butt because he knows that part of himself was grumpy as number 12.
Oh yeah, because he's on the brink of, dying. Like after him, there will be a last regeneration, and then he will be gone, or the creature itself would be gone.
No. That's why Capaldi's Doctor. I was a bit grumpy because he had spent 800 years in a war.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like the character because it puts the fact that he spent over 800 years on a planet defending it into effect in his next regeneration.
Well, yeah, of course. Like along with that timeline.
Of a grump.
Well, yeah. That's like I'm not necessarily saying he's near the final. The creature is near the final stage, so that's why he's grumpy. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying part of it has to do with that too, because I'm personally that's what I interpret Capaldi's depiction of the 12th Doctor is that not along with the burden of having seen so many things of the 800s awards and things like that. He also had to deal with the fact that he's near the end of the stage. That's what I interpreted the way he played it, and in a sense I find that relatable.
The character can't choose to stop it, and it's like anyone can choose to let nature take its course.
Yeah. But
he has many lives left, but he could have chose to stop it right then and there while he was dying.
Well,
but he could have refused to regenerate. but that's also that way it's relatable because anyone can refuse to
Yes.
let their story end.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
To keep going.
Yeah. That's what I'm that's what I'm
yeah,
really
I know,
trying to say.
It's mostly me to get it straight in my head.
Yeah, but like for me though, going back towards Whitaker is that the reason why I find David Tennant vibe is not necessarily that she's trying to essentially copy Tennant. Is more of she's very like she's very eccentric. There's a lot of like energetic vibes. She's constantly thinking while talking, and she's like she knows what she's doing, even though she's trying to figure things out. and it just brings out a freshness.
Doesn't have a plan.
Yeah, she doesn't have a plan, but she has a plan.
There's no plan with the doctor. It's a thing.
Yeah. That's so she nails that down pretty well.
That will happen, and then everyone will say.
Yeah, and I also like the supporting characters. I think they have a potential to be strong.
Yeah, well, everything that always had the supporting characters. I mean, even the characters that end up taking the bucket, they all have an impact.
Yeah. So I like that too. I like it too.
They said the doctor influenced some of the things I even do. I mean, even in high school, I sucked at dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is also gonna be a story, but it relates to Doctor.
Yeah.
I sucked at dodgeball all the time. I couldn't throw a ball to save my life.
Mm-hmm.
But now this is right when 11 started his era.
Okay.
You know, Matt Smith.
Not Tennant. Sorry, Matt Smith.
Revitalizing because everyone loved him.
Yeah.
But that's when 11 started his era, so I ended up copying one of his lines, and I stepped in front of the whole dodgeball ring and just yelled out, "Look at me, I'm a target!"
Yes! That is so great!
And you know what? It actually works.
Yes! Oh my god! That's so awesome. I can't believe he actually did that. That's amazing. I really would like to see that. I would like to see you do like a reenact of that someday. You should reenact it. Hey, look, I'm a target.
Hey, look at me, I'm a target.
Look at me, I'm a target.
Throw all their dodgeballs at me, and I got like all of them.
Nice. You know, that's kind of what you have to do in life. You just have to go balls out all the way. That's just how it is.
See, that's why I said you have to have the heroes that do all those things and make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a
He can be
hero.
old,
Yeah.
But you have to remember that. That's why I said I like him, the Doctor, because the Doctor's currently now thousands of years old, but remembers the fact that, hey, always never cruel or cowardly.
Yeah, that's.
Because that's what the name is, Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
The Doctor usually is universal to be healer, protector,
and savior at times.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
as I said, he saves the world with a screwdriver.
Just like.
Eat that, Spider-Man.
I mean, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. Beat that, Tom Holland, with your little machine, like new technology from Iron Man. But legit, I kind of like Tom Holland. Like he's alright.
Oh yeah, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He made a great Spider-Man.
He made a great Spider-Man, definitely.
Why most people with that kind of genre of heroes don't like to talk about the first Spider-Man trilogy.
I mean, okay,
Tobey
the
Maguire.
thing though.
No one talks about Tobey Maguire anymore.
The thing though, people don't talk about it because of the third one, and like if they didn't do the third one, then people would still be talking about Spider-Man. And personally, I would say though, like I don't hate Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man's great, but I'd rather want to see a Miles Morales because over the decade, we have 3 Peter Parkers. That's the most amount of like actors of the same character.
That's why I said the Spider-Man role. You know, Spider-Man as hero in general. You know, tried to take responsibility for everything.
but you can have.
But
I mean, you can.
it also made the comedy aspects. That's why I said I like Deadpool better. You know, he puts the comedy aspects.
Oh yeah, of course. And
not try to make himself seem too self-righteous.
yeah, but also that also brings out at the same time though it also brings out relatability of Spider-Man more compared to other characters, because not only is he younger, he also was in the earlier comics he was Deadpool before Deadpool came.
Oh yeah.
He was the one breaking the third what you call it, the third wall.
The fourth wall.
Did I say third wall?
Fourth wall.
Fourth wall, Jesus Christ! Oh my God, I'm an actor here too. Let's go. No wonder I was like third. I keep on repeating third, and then I realized, oh crap! Wait, I was repeating third. I was like, is third? Like, isn't it third wall? Oh no, it's fourth wall. Oh my gosh! But Spider-Man was originally the one who broke the fourth wall, and then Deadpool came, and then
it's mostly they were trying to make, that's why I said the Marvel and DC things, they try to make everything go the way they want it to.
Yes.
That's why I said pick the people you look up to.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look up to all these superheroes, but try to see people for how they are. That's why I like the heroes that you could, possibly relate to.
Yes, definitely. I think.
I mean, he's Spider-Man, but he's also trying to live in New York City.
Yeah.
Juggle a job.
Yep, relationships.
Having his love life.
And also.
Juggle just about everything else.
Yeah, everything else, like dealing with payment.
Relatable too, a little bit. Try to, people are busy. You have to juggle everything.
Yeah, and that's also why like non DC Marvel comic superhero movies can be very cult classic. Like for example, I'm not only thinking about Kick-Ass, but also one of more underrated superheroes that came out the same year as Kick-Ass, called Super, and it was starring Rainn Wilson, as well as the girl from Juno, Ellen Page, I believe. Is that her name? Yeah, Ellen Page. Ellen Page and Rainn Wilson, they starred in a superhero movie called Super, and it's basically about a middle-aged man who decided to become a superhero, but he has to face the realities of trying to be a vigilante, trying to basically protect his city or neighborhood, and that's going through wolves and not having superpower, getting beat up, attack and things like that, and it just draws out the realistic woes of it, and Kick-Ass does it too. Like Kick-Ass brought out like how hard and tough it is to be a superhero, but it's even though it's a little more it's realistic. Like the standard of Kick-Ass is realistic. I find Super to be a little more of like gritty, more of like it's much darker and more realistic than Kick-Ass. Especially, it's got a much sadder ending, but it has and things like that, and draws out the complexity and the sadness throughout it. But it was great, basically. But
well, I mean, I know people love the happy endings, and don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a happy ending myself.
Yeah, I like happy endings.
But it's just sometimes, you can't always win your battles, but you always can learn from them.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what Super did, where the main character did win. Like he saved, within the concept of defeating the villain and saving the damsel in distress, he wins, but he also lost, and that brings out so much of that of his character, and I just like Super. I think it was such a great underrated film that I wish a lot of people could watch, because it was great, and I felt like people unfortunately lean towards Kick-Ass than Super, but at the same time though, it's an indie film. Yeah, had a lot more fighting. It's more fresh. Michael Cera was great in it, and Chloe Grace Moretz was great in it. Cage was actually had one of his more better performances, but I think Super should definitely be a film that some indie goers should watch for sure. But yeah, like
Yes.
generally heroes that brings out the relatability are the more successful.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you like those who, save the day, save everything, but that's how people are starting to go for their heroes nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, Superman is getting more relatable because he keeps trying to... You hold back. If you're a strong person, you gotta hold back.
Yeah.
Even if you're angry, you can't go punch someone in the face.
yes, definitely. And like
it's like anyone. If they're strong, they can't, they can't punch someone in the face because it's probably the right thing to do. They have to hold back a lot.
Yeah. And the thing about superheroes, what's also interesting is that he's technically, like, in the absolute sense of things, he's in a very infinite ceiling. And I felt like with Superman, what generally people are going to do with him is to try to drag him down to the point where he has he has obstacles to go through, right? Because in his most absolute level, Superman infinitely, like, he's unbeatable in a sense. Where like if you try to match him, you're basically screwed. In the sense of if Goku ever beats Superman, I personally will say Superman because Superman basically has no limitations in his absolute best.
Yes, he has no limits.
Yeah.
Goku has limits. He pushes beyond the limits.
That's Goku.
That's after some time.
Yeah, after some time, and after some yelling, some punches, some episodes.
Yeah, some training.
Yeah, training.
He trains and he pushes beyond his limits.
Yeah.
Those don't have limits.
Yeah.
They're the dangerous ones.
Yeah, Superman does not have a limit. Like, sure, he has to learn his powers and get through those as limits, but if at his peak, he has no peak. Like, if he doesn't go through all of the obstacles, he has no peak. So that's why the only way to make this character more grounded, more relatable, is to literally drag him under. Like, make him try to find a way to get him to have obstacles, not necessarily through his strength or his powers, but through his psyche or through his own character, his personality, like who he is, like what he's dealing with, or the concept.
That's why I also don't like the ones that, it's what those stories that they end up, the writers make something like the bad guy so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
That it's almost impossible for you to defeat him, and then they realize, oh shit, we need to defeat him.
Yeah, that's always a death trap, because if you made...
here's the thing, that's what I call, because I can consider myself a writer.
Yeah.
It's called the asshole. It's when they write themselves so much into a corner, they have to find a solution.
Yes.
Betwixt their butt cheeks.
A dual ex machina, basically, and
yeah.
it's bad. Like, if you see it,
you have to make some balance when it comes to people.
Not only do you have to,
anyone can't be defeated, and that also goes with who they're fighting.
Yeah, and that's my main complaint for fairy tales, is that, like, a lot of the evil villains, they look so incredibly strong, but then they somehow get defeated by, like, the weaker supporting characters, which is really strange. Like, if you look at, compared to One Piece, like, now that's understandable. a lot of the...
They have those have, like, mystical devil fruits in them.
Yeah, but, like...
They're powers, though, but they have weaknesses to them.
And like, a lot of the battles are very understandable. For example, looking at Zoro, he, like, in the beginning, right? Like, he was overpowered. He was way overpowered. He could have easily defeated his earlier foes, but the reason why he couldn't defeat any of the earlier foes that easily was because he was injured. He was slashed in one slice by Hawkeye. He was barely alive and things like that. And that's why in later stages he was overpowered. The only closest battles when he was fully healed was against this guy who ate a fruit, and he's literally made out of like steel, and he was steel blades, and he was basically pummeling Zoro until Zoro learned something. But that was because Zoro learned something.
Yes.
So, but aside from Zoro, a lot of the battles were very
You
relatable.
have to have the weaknesses, and
Yes.
like I said before, we make them so that they're human.
Yeah.
They seem relatable. Like, hey, it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you're not every day is someone's gonna gain powers. I mean, more like, hey, I could see if you could see yourself in their position and be able to do that, then
Yeah.
you have a good character or a hero themselves.
Mm-hmm. And another thing about, not only do you create a hero that is relatable, I also would arguably say that you should also create a villain that's relatable. Because having a balance of two, and because a villain stems from, I mean, I personally come from a concept of everyone is born innocent and was taught to be evil, or made into who they are. That's just my thought. So I felt like the villain must have a conscious reason to become who he is, or why he's doing the act that's considered to be villainy or lawfully wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why.
That's why I also didn't like the fact of good and evil. I mean, yeah, you can have someone you look up to and, admire, but that usually warps your perspective a lot. I mean, I started this topic mostly because, as a kid, you can admire a lot of things that influence who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly, it's your heroes.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between the concept, of good and evil, because, most people, like Deadpool, he started out as considered one of the bad guys.
Yes.
He wasn't considered an anti-hero.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
He's one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
But you have to make, the concept of it is a little bit shrewd. I mean, I'm currently writing my own story.
Is it?
Probably be a book someday.
Nice.
Yeah, it has some science fiction to it.
Nice.
But the concept of good and evil isn't really in there. There are human situations. And that's what I personally prefer, is, human situations.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, what is the first thing you think of when you think of a demon?
I think of me. I'm kidding. I actually thought of Devilman Crybaby, but I get what you mean.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think of, something completely evil.
Yes.
But that's what I said. You can have a hero that is not from the norm and yet still doing something.
Yeah. Like Devilman Crybaby, or to the example, and also even Megamind has that aspect of, Lex Luthor is a character, is a villain, but he's actually the hero.
You can have the villains, yet they also can be relatable in some way if they have the reason for doing something like that.
Mm-hmm. For doing it, for turning towards it. Like for in the Dark Knight, you have Harvey Dent.
The dark side. I mean, even the Joker probably has a few reasons to be messed up in the head, and he knows it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, and not just the Joker, but Harvey Dent. We can also talk about the second Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Dr. Oct, why he became it, and why Harvey Dent became Two-Face. It's all that they were both originally good characters, but they became evil.
They were good people.
Yeah.
And that's how life brings you.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why I like the people who are considered the heroes, because they decide, hey, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Usually, the hero makes a decision that the villain doesn't. The hero sticks on, the villains let go. So if you have that contrast, that's why we should draw in the fact that both characters are relatable. That's why.
And as I said, that's why I also like the Doctor Who when they consider monsters. They hardly consider the bad guys, because they also have reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Monsters. You can have something that's, I'm gonna reference my own story a little bit. I'm not gonna spoil it because eventually I want to publish.
Oh, I want to know. I'm
No,
kidding.
it's mostly the concept of the supernatural creatures that are in my world I'm developing.
Yeah.
You could consider some of them evil because some people like a hunger demon. He eats people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he is naturally.
Yeah.
But that is his natural disposition. Like, there's a difference between being evil and, survival.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the demons, they eat souls. That doesn't necessarily mean that my demon's, is evil.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something called doing how things naturally, because I'm also going to throw back to Doctor Who, because some of the monsters there, yeah, they want to, take over the planet for, their own reasons because they feel like it's going to be there. But there are a couple of them that they're just doing what they normally do. And if you give them the option, say, hey, I can get you a new place. You can live out your days, you can have natural food, and you can't deny nature.
Yeah. I get what you mean. But we're currently, just letting you know, we're currently on the 56-minute mark, almost an hour. So I'm gonna end it off with one more question that can be answered for me and you, and could be answered also by the viewers, by the comment section below. So, if you're a hero, right? If you actually become a superhero, what would your superpowers be?
I actually thought of this because I'm actually doing a thing with a bunch of friends. We called it the project.
Mm-hmm.
We each all have we had to choose magic.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, well, we chose magic, and we each chose a little power that we could have because it was our avatar's power.
So what's your power?
But it all has to have weaknesses, and that's where I put the thing. To,
Mm-hmm.
Me, I've never been bothered by dark places at all. So, I can... Dark. Shadows. I mean, it sounds dark when you think about it, but as I said, I have never been bothered by the dark.
Wait, so is your superpowers dark shadows?
It's more like shadows in general, and
so using shadows.
Obviously light.
Yeah.
The darker the place, the stronger it is. But
yeah.
It's like I can, it's more like shadows themselves. But as it says, all of it has a weakness.
Yeah. So basically, Boku no Hero, My Hero Academia, Tokyo Anime.
Dark Shadow.
Dark Shadow.
I developed it myself.
But well, for me, my superhero is actually something that is not as common as people think, and I'm proud of it. I wanted something that is super powerful but can be very humane, within the sense of it makes sense in the human reality of things, right? So my superhero power would be the ability to be able to communicate with anyone through every language. So my knowledge of every different languages that existed.
Yeah, that like I said, being smart is also a superpower.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yes, that's why I love it. Holy shoot. I could connect with everybody. Legit. Through just that superpower. Is that I have no qualms communicating, and I'm pretty sure not many people know this, but languages and communication is the most important thing in this world. Literally, it's sought after.
You can discuss things.
Yes,
That's one of the things I look up personally. It's just you discuss it.
Yeah.
But you use your head.
Yeah.
And not kick the crap out of each
other. Yeah, and in
your
real.
As much as that is entertaining.
yeah, true. And in terms of jobs, it's the most sought after. Everyone wants a language specialist. Everyone wants a language specialist in their team. They would want a tech specialist, but they'll also want a language specialist in their team because they can provide service to everyone. That's amazing. I could basically I have freedom to do as many jobs as possible. I could do not just like voice dubs, but I could also do dubs for other countries, or subs, or even subs, or I can act. I can, if a Spanish TV series actually wants an Asian Spanish speaker, I can hop in for audition and things like that.
It's
but
one of the most universal things is
yes,
communication, and that is
so that is really useful. On
all of it, that'd be amazing.
Oh yeah, I would get sought after so much. I love it. But anyways, we are approaching the end of our podcast, which is unfortunate but we have talked for an hour, which is cool. And we were mainly talking about heroes, but not necessarily sci-fi. But I mean, we kind of glazed on. We talked on sci-fi. We brought in Doctor Who. Yeah, it's just we were a lot more engrossed in the hero side of things, but definitely we did talk about sci-fi. But anyways, that is it for this podcast. Thank you all for listening, or for those who are still there and not tuning off and not asleep. Y'all should go to sleep now. I mean, it's 11:22 in LA, but this time. Anyways,
I am over here, so
yeah, Tommy, you definitely should go to sleep. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. We do slightly apologize for the lack of videos out there. We did try to put up one video a week, but it's been pretty hard due to school, and some of us have gone down.
But as long as we keep going,
yeah, we're always gonna keep going. We're always gonna keep going. We're gonna post as much as we can, even though we may not be able to promise like once a week. But we are still gonna post as much as we can, and there are gonna be exciting new projects coming up. Right, Kami? Are you excited? Are you excited?
I'm working on currently, and it's not gonna happen until like next month.
Yeah. So stay tuned, but yeah. sorry. As you were saying, Kami.
I was like, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. We're working. You know who we are. But anyways, once again, this is a final goodbye. So thank you all for watching, and we'll seeing you all in the next podcast. Bye!
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao. Alright, I'm gonna